Hello everyone, Gianluca Messier speaking on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope project, and it's such a big pleasure for me to welcome you on board for this very precious journey. Tonight we will explore the Milky Way, our own galaxy.
Hello everyone!
And this event is hosted in partnership with Astronomers Without Borders, and they organized this wonderful Milky Way festival, and I'm very happy every time I can cooperate with them, sharing the beauty of the cosmos where we live. I've been cooperating with Astronomers Without Borders over the last 13 years or so, soon after the International Year of Astronomy, and I'm very happy and proud to be the national coordinator here in Italy for Astronomers Without Borders. We share the same sky, we are one people, one sky, and I strongly suggest you to visit www.astronomerswithoutborders.org to support their mission to connect people, to make friends through borders, thanks to the common treasure and the common beauty of the night sky. So it's a pleasure for me to run this event, as I said, and I will be more than happy tonight to bring to you some of the best astronomical objects we have up there. I just want to check that everything is up and running, just to be sure that I don't have here problems with my devices, because tonight I would like to introduce you a new telescope just to share basically its first sights with you on this very precious occasion. I'm just trying to understand what is sharing twice my audio. Not easy to understand, but I hope that you can listen to me correctly, as I think. So friends, here in Italy we have a very dark sky right now. Well, not where I am here in Rome, and as every big city, Rome is seriously contaminated by light pollution, which is making it impossible for us to appreciate the beauty of the night sky. So I really hope that you will have an opportunity soon or later to look up just from a very dark side. I want to share with you, let me see what is up in the sky where I have the telescopes ready to go for us. While I am in Rome, the telescopes are in a very different place, and here they are, my friends. What we are seeing here is the entire sky just above my telescopes. This is a camera sharing the entire panorama of the sky. You can see our Milky Way. By the way, this is a very nice image to start to celebrate this very event, just celebrating our own galaxy. And you can see many stars all around. This is a long exposure, but trust me, this is a very dark place, and every time I go there on site, I'm always amazed by the beauty of the sky I can really see there. So I wanted to share this panoramic view in order to have you oriented, and we will be moving with our telescope back and forth from here to there, somewhere in the sky, and of course I will just show you where we will go. So next step for me is to be back here in Rome, okay? And now I want to share with you the control room of my telescopes. So the first thing I want to do right now is to start sharing one of the telescopes with you. Let me see. Okay, having two telescopes, I really need to concentrate. And here we are, my friends. Okay, those of you familiar with the Virtual Telescope project should recognize this graphic interface quite easily. Of course, this is a software. I am remotely connected to the computer, just controlling my robotic telescope, and after all, what we see here is a star map. This is a synthetic version of the whole sky we saw minutes ago for real, thanks to my old sky camera. Now here it is the same, but this time in the shape of a star map, okay? And here you can see a yellow circle saying where the telescope is right now. And from time to time we will see a red crosshair here just telling where our destination object is. And I want to start this amazing journey again, thanking Astronomers Without Borders for organizing this amazing festival, bringing to you, no matter where you are on this beautiful planet, the beauty of the night sky, the wonders of the universe, and the opportunity to connect with people through borders, thanks to this common, precious treasure, the night sky, the cosmos, where we live and we belong to it. So my first step will be, a very beautiful gem of our Milky Way, and I wanted to start from here actually, and I will do right now, and I will ask to my system to look for something apparently very mysterious. M13. M13 is just it is not, I understand, a very fascinating name. It is just a catalog entry, just describing some kind of astronomical object in those huge catalogs used by us, the astronomers. And Messier 31, M stands for Messier, the surname of a great French astronomer who was a very prolific comet discoverer in the 18th century. And while looking for comets, he discovered several fuzzy objects out there just working for him like false alarms. Every time he crossed one of them, he suspected it was a comet because the appearance was the same. Later understanding it was not a comet. So after losing a lot of time and after many illusions to find a comet, he decided to compile a catalog with those false alarms, and they are the so-called Messier objects. And the entry number 13 is this one. Let's ask my telescope to go there right now. I just asked the system to slew. The telescope will move from the starting point and reaching the destination. Look here, we are looking up in the sky very high, while this the circle here is the horizon, okay? The center of the map is overhead, the so-called zenith. So the closer we are to the center, the higher in the sky we are looking actually. So we are pretty high in the sky right now, so the telescope is pointing high. Later I will try to show the telescope, by the way, just to make clear we are not joking here. We are using real telescopes, my friends, remotely, but real ones. We should be there. Let me ask the system right now to take a very quick exposure, because while we trust the telescope, we believe that it pointed the right place, the right object, we want to check what is now in the field of view of the telescope. I don't know where you are, perhaps in Europe, perhaps in the US, perhaps in Africa, perhaps in Asia, don't know, but it would be impossible for you to say, hey, come on, look here through the eyepiece of the telescope. You are too far from my telescope, unfortunately. But I have a very special eye there, a very sensitive electronic retina, thousands of times more sensitive than our natural, beautiful retina. So let's ask my system to take a truly quick exposure that is collecting light for a handful of seconds to see what we have here. Perhaps we will have something interesting, who knows? Let's check. 5 seconds. After collecting light for 5 seconds, the telescope will display what we have here. Here we are. So we have this very beautiful astronomical object. I would like to take here the opportunity to refine possibly the focus, just to be sure that we have the sharp vision possible, and also to share with you this very particular moment. You know, when you are taking a picture, you really need to focus your camera, otherwise you will have blurred images. Here it is a bit more complicated because not only you have to focus the telescope, but there is also the atmosphere between us here on the earth, on the ground, and the object very far away. I will tell you about the distance later. Let's see if we can improve this or not, just to be sure if this slightly blurred image is just focus or atmosphere. In the case of it is the atmosphere, I can do basically nothing because I cannot ask the atmosphere to stop its turbulence. But I believe that I'm just moved the wrong direction. Let's see if we can improve a bit, and then I will try to take a deeper image. So I'm sharing with you something that we the astronomers do regularly, every time, many times during the night. Okay friends, we have this scene right now, so I cannot improve the view we are having because you perhaps saw that we had a better sight earlier and it was worse despite my attempt to fix this. So it is basically the turbulence right now. The thing was just great up to a few minutes ago, but now as you can see it is less than ideal. Let me check again, sorry, just to be sure I can have the best. Okay, I will stay with this also because time is precious. You will never know if clouds will jump or not in the field of view. Let me take 20-second exposure. What does this mean? You know, we are imaging very faint targets, and like you trying to take a picture in darkness, you have to take a long exposure. That is, there is just a little light around, just a small amount of light, and you have to capture that very poor light for a long time, a long exposure. And here we are collecting light for 20 seconds via our very sensitive retina, electronic retina, our camera, and now we will ask our system to show what we are seeing. And look here, my friends. Here we are observing this beautiful cluster. This is Messier 31. This is a globular cluster, one of the most crowded regions, places of the Milky Way as for the stars. You have perhaps about 1 million stars in a typical, an extreme globular cluster like this one. And I hope that you can also appreciate how just doing this very quick image manipulation, I'm basically just underlining different features. Here you can see how dense the stars are in the center of the object. I cannot imagine how the experience would be if we were in the very center of a rich globular clusters, how many thousands of stars we could see in our sky, naked eye. But you can see that as soon as you leave the center of the object, the star density is just going down, and at some point sorry, you don't see stars anymore. This is Messier 31. This beautiful place in our Milky Way is actually outside the spiral structure of our own galaxy. It is living in some kind of halo, embracing the galactic structure, the spiral, and having a few hundred globular clusters, and Messier 31 is one of the most beautiful globular clusters in the sky. And while you observe this gem, keep in mind you are observing very far away. This object is so far in space and time, of course, that if you leave planet Earth now, traveling at the speed of light, no less than the speed of light, it will take, my friends, 30,000 years to reach Messier 13. So its distance is 30,000 light years. It is just giving you a pale idea of the vastness of cosmos. I I'm always amazed every time I just pronounce these huge distances. And keep in mind, this is part of the Milky Way. So what if we look much more distant in space? Okay, so we started in a great way, enjoying this very rich place, and Messier 31 is a globular cluster belonging to our beautiful Milky Way. These are very old stars. They have more than 10 billion years, at least twice the age of our sun. And of course, this is also one of the most beautiful objects in the deep sky. And if you are lucky enough to live under a dark sky, this object is barely visible to the naked eye in the Hercules constellation, my friends. What next? Well, I would like now to switch to my other telescope, because the telescope I'm using now is a 14 inches large telescope, which is able just to see close up, okay? I have a much more panoramic telescope, something we call astrograph, and I would like to start using it with you. So let me change, the system, the telescope, the console. Here we are. Of course, it is the same software, so in principle nothing changed, but trust me, you have the same console, but they are two different telescopes. And now I would like to just to track, an idea, that is, I would like to travel across the Milky Way, just visiting very special places, telling us about the story of a star. And perhaps the best thing to do right now is to visit where stars are burning. What do you think? I think this could be a truly great idea. So let's go, my friends, and let's ask the telescope to visit another Messier object. Its name will be Messier number 8. Where it is? Okay, let's check where Messier number 8 is. You can see that it is in a very, very different place. Let me check how I did left the previous telescope. Okay, and now I will ask the system to go there. Come on, friends, let's go and see what a nebula is. I have two different telescopes. Let me see if I can show you them with a very special camera. Okay, it's very difficult to see, but I will try to share, of course, because we are blessed there with a very, very dark sky. So I don't want to switch on any infrared because it will be dramatic. Perhaps you can see here as a silhouette the main telescope. Okay, meantime the telescope is just arriving at its destination. Let me see if we did our job correctly, and let's take, for example, a very quick image of this mysterious object. We know just the name, Messier 8, same catalog as the great globular cluster of Hercules, Messier, but number 8 this time, not number 13. Let me take a quick image just to have something to comment while we will try to take a longer one. So happy to host this live feed in partnership with Astronomers Without Borders, celebrating, as I said, our Milky Way, just enjoying its many beautiful objects. Oh, not bad at all. I am using a very special filter just selecting the hydrogen, the most common element in our universe and the main component of these amazing star clouds. Let me see if I can remove the filter, even adjusting the focus a bit, just to give you a better vision. I hope you appreciate that this is not prepared. This is just happening now. I am just controlling this telescope with you. Just is the spirit of our events. Let's take now another 15-second images, but I removed that filter, just selecting a very narrow slice of the electromagnetic signal. So now we will have a much wider, and look how many more stars you can see. Perhaps this is one of the richest regions of our galaxy, because this one is in the Sagittarius constellation. Just to want to be sure that you can recognize on the map. By the way, I just move this on the left. Okay, look where we are observing. We are Sagittarius here. Let me see if I can show you the remote cursor. Here we are Sagittarius, okay, and Scorpius, and we are basically looking in the direction where we know there is the center of the Milky Way. So this is why you have such a huge density of stars, but not only stars. So go here. This is a beautiful cloud of hydrogen, what we call a diffuse nebula, and this is where stars are forming. Look, it's a very subtle, very delicate pattern. You have shadows because there is also dust absorbing lights and showing by contrast like darkness. And you can also see stars here which were born inside this nebula, my friends. Let me see if I can adjust this in real time. Let me see if I can just do something good or not. Just to give you a better idea perhaps about the elegance, beauty and richness of these places. Hope you appreciate this vision. We are observing the so-called Lagoon Nebula, one of the most celebrated nebulae in the sky. These are star nurseries, because it is in nebulae like this that stars are born, and many of the stars you see around were born here. We are also looking very distant, again about 5,000 light years, significantly less than the globular cluster of Hercules, but still very, very far away. Trust me, my friends, every time you see a nebula, for example, you see a completely different show, because there is such a huge amount of variations that you will never see two things looking the same. You can observe every clear night of your life, and trust me, you will never see twice the same thing, unless you just want to observe the same thing. Do you want a quick demonstration? Okay, I will do. Let's ask my system now to look for another nebula, not very far, same direction. Look here, the red and the yellow are very close. Yellow is where the telescope is pointing, where we have the Messier 8 Lagoon Nebula, and red is when we have the Messier 20 Nebula. So very close in the sky. They share the same region of the sky. And now check what is happening here by taking again a 15-second image. Bet how different the new nebula will be once it will be displayed on our monitor. How fast the system is taking images. Look here how beautiful this is. This is the so-called Trifid Nebula, resembling, you can see, like a cosmic flower, you know. One of the most elegant nebulae you will ever see out there, my friends. Look, and again, I hope you can appreciate the experience of the sky shared live via the Virtual Telescope Project. I'm the privileged to be the founder and director of the Virtual Telescope Project since it started operation 17 years ago, and this event is hosted in partnership with my friends at Astronomers Without Borders. So we also enjoyed this beautiful nebula, the 351 Messier 20, in our catalogs, and its distance is more or less as the one of Messier 8. You see the stars are continuously burning, okay? Seeing the light, starting their life in nebulas like this, and when they are just starting their life, they are burning, okay, together, many stars at the same time, okay, many twins, I will say, or at least many stars with different masses, amount of matter inside each of them, but just burning at the same time. And you can have evidence of this because there are very special places in the night sky that we know as open clusters, where those relatively young stars are still close to each other after sharing their nursery. And one of the best star clusters, open star clusters, is Messier 11, the dark star cluster. I asked the system to go there. I love how flexible is the virtual telescope, how reliable it is. You know, I'm just slewing and taking images without, because I can trust really the perfect pointing of the system. And this is of course because of the very advanced hardware we are using. While simple at the surface, it is very advanced, I mean, on its roots. Anyway, here we are. Let's take such again a 15-second exposure, and let's see what this will bring to us, my friends. Time is running, and here it is, and you can here really enjoy, as I said, the beauty of this star cluster, how rich again this portion of the Milky Way is, because we are just observing in the direction of the so-called Milky Way, the most dense portion in the sky as for the stars. Because if you look, I mean, along the plane of the Milky Way, I will show you an image just telling about the structure of the Milky Way later. If you look along the plane of the galaxy, it is just matter of perspective. You will see many stars. Like if you are in a forest, you look in front of you, by perspective, you see many trees in front of you. But if you look up, you just see perhaps a few leaves, okay? How beautiful also this star cluster is. Messier 11. Happy that we had this beautiful view again with our system, okay? And now I want to share with you another object, just reminding that this one is about 6,000 light years, sorry. I need just 1 second, please. We are back, my friends, and now I'm going to slew the telescope to visit another special place where we will see a dying star this time. While they share the same origin, just starting their life from the same nebula, stars are following very different fades. It depends on the amount of matter, the mass you have. You just collected from your mother, the nebula. And I want to show you what will happen to small mass stars like our Sun. And I know where to look for this. Let's say goodbye to this very beautiful star cluster and ask our system to look for Messier 57. Here we are. We are just leaving the Scutum, the Shield constellation, pretty faint, even if very precious, and we are just going to visit a region of the sky not far from the bright star Vega, okay? But we are observing the Messier 57 nebula. Go there and have a look. The telescope is moving, and now I will ask the system, once we are arrived, okay, I will say to our system to take, of course, another 15-second images. Time is running, you see, and in a handful of seconds we will have a glimpse to the future of the Sun. Many stars I see, but you have something special in the very center. Let me see if I can enlarge this a bit. I can increase the resolution and show you what is here, like a donut, okay? And this is the so-called ring nebula. Unfortunately, the atmosphere is a bit turbulent tonight, but perhaps you can recognize in the center here the star, which is dying, evolving to white dwarf star, and while doing this it releases a very small amount of the outer layers of its structure, and they are expanding, slowly expanding, creating that ring of light, okay? It is just light emitted by the gas released by the star itself under the effect of the light of this white dwarf. This is, as I said, Messier 57. Very nice sight as well. But now I want to show you what happens when we face the death of very massive stars. Quite incredible massive stars having more or less 8 times more mass than our Sun will die pretty soon. Their life is much shorter than the Sun. While they have less mass, less fuel to burn, while large mass stars have plenty of fuel, they will die very quickly. Let's find the right place, the right corner of the sky, where we can spy such a large mass died star, or better, the remnant after the death of such a large star. Let me ask the system to look for something different now. NGC. Okay, sorry. I have an alert here. Wait, please. Want to check. Okay. Because I had an alert, but everything is just fine. Sorry. Okay. And look for this object, NGC 6960. Let's add the system to slew there. It will take a few seconds to our system to go to do this. We can track this travel while the telescope is slewing, you see. Surfing. Right now we have been here. This is the radiant of the Perseid meteor shower, by the way, in the Perseus constellation. A region of the sky you will be monitoring very closely these nights. By the way, in next Sunday at 1:30 Universal Time, we will host a live feed covering the Perseid meteor shower, by the way. So we are going there. I want to adjust the focuser back to the previous position. I now want to use the H alpha filter, just picking the hydrogen wavelength, offering such a strong contrast. And let me see what we see in 15 seconds. When this starts having large mass, a few times the mass of the sun, when they end their fuel, they stop just producing nuclear energy in a very dramatic way. They really undergo a huge explosion, becoming a supernova. And perhaps if you look carefully, you can see something here. Let me see if I can adjust things a bit for you or not. Perhaps it is too extreme, too short time. I will wait for the longer exposure I already started. There is a bright star here, nothing to do with the supernova. The supernova is the astrophysical event when the huge mass star explodes, becoming billions of times brighter than it was just before the explosion. But here the supernova in our Milky Way exploded a few tens of thousands years ago, and we can see just what is left after the explosion. Its structure has been just released, blown out after the huge violence of the supernova explosion. Look here, my friends, how beautiful, how delicate this image is, how dramatic also. This is, my friends, part of the legendary Veil Nebula. Do you see this very delicate veil? This is gas released by that ancient supernova a few tens of thousands years ago, when it exploded. Now the supernova, the star, is no longer visible. Of course, very likely it is a pulsar, and you can observe here the remnant. I find this honestly amazing. Let me check if I can adjust the contrast while waiting for, sorry, everything here is happening. Look, of course this is a very short exposure, but perhaps you can barely guess, as I said, the beauty, the richness, and many other elements here. Let's wait for a few more seconds in order to have, as I said, a better vision. I'm very curious to see this. let's wait. Let's wait, my friends. Look how much better the contrast is right now. And I think that we have here a very precious image of this beautiful, beautiful supernova remnant, okay? It's so okay, here we are. So I really hope that you had fun with us while surfing the Milky Way for a while. We spotted very different objects, making our own galaxy a very special place. Of course, never forget perhaps the most precious object of the Milky Way, that is our own planet. While we look up, we discover those very distant objects. I hope you will better understand how precious, unique and important our own planet is, belonging to the same immense galaxy, my friends. So, after this, I would like to thank you for joining this fantastic journey. At least for me, it was amazing. Hosted by the Virtual Telescope Project, this journey through the Milky Way to celebrate with our friends of Astronomers Without Borders their Milky Way Festival. It was a pleasure, as I said, to have you on board, looking here and there, enjoying the beauty of the cosmos. And I hope that through the beauty of the stars, looking up at the same sky, we will be much more inspired to create very good relationship, just reminding us that we must be friends under the same huge show that we know and we call the night sky. That's all, my friends, from Gianluca Massi. I hope you had, as I said, a good time with us. Keep looking up. I suggest you to visit www.virtualtelescope.eu, as well as www.astronomerswithoutborders.org. Take care, my friends, and from Gianluca Massi, Rome, Italy, it's everything. I hope to see you again on board, perhaps next Sunday. Check our website, virtualtelescope.eu, to understand how to join the amazing live feed covering the upcoming Perseid meteor shower. Take care, my friends, and keep looking up.